We had a houseman at the White House named George Thompson, and President Truman used to come over at lunchtime and have lunch, and he had an office and a desk in the Oval Room on the second floor where he would go and do some work. So he'd work in there a while, and then he'd go back to the office. So he finished his work, and President Truman went to the office. George goes in to tidy up the room and see if everything was in place. And when he didn't see too much to do, he got everything in shape. President Truman had a large leather chair, which he was very comfortable. George would sit down in it and ride back. He was president. As soon as he got comfortable, who walks back in but President Truman? He looked at George and said, George, you're in a mighty hot seat. He picked up his papers and went on back to the office. That was the end of that. Because I've seen the time that certain things we'd done in one administration, and boy, they thought it was wrong. We shouldn't ever do it. And another administration would come in, and it was perfectly all right. For, say, the Eisenhower administration, when we had state dinners or any dinner, Ms. Eisenhower forbid us to pick up plates until everybody was through eating. Mm-hmm. And she would sit there and look. And if we did, she would tell us about it. Mm-hmm. And so we learned, and we decided that we would not pick up a plate until everybody was through. So then the next administration come in, and sometime they would want to rush things. I can recall once that President Johnson told me, he says, why don't you pick up? I said, Mr. President, your guests haven't finished eating. And he said, well, if you start picking up, they'd rush and get through. One thing about being at the White House, you do it for so long. Most people who work there for many years, and you see each other every day. You cross the path one way or another, you're helping one another, and you're really one big family. If I had to do it all over again, I think I'd do the same thing, because after all, there were many things that I saw or never would have seen in life, or people I saw. Like you say, you see, I've seen probably every leader in the world, kings, queens, prime ministers. You know, you enjoy those things. I was loyal to the White House. I loved it. I want to make sure that the president and the first lady were happy, the guests were happy. And after so many years, it was just a part of me.